My favorite story is this one I did up in Fort Collins. It was told to me by a former photographer here because he lived up there and he met with this guy. And the story was about this man who created this massive granite sculpture park in his backyard, which has become a little bit of a mini tourist attraction, if you will, for people around the country who like weird oddities, sculpting, and just Americana. We didn't do the story because the guy was a character, but the guy's attitude, his personality, that's to me is why that was my favorite story. So we went up to his house in Fort Collins, I pulled up, and this is a story I called Granite Paradise.
Started with landscaping the yard.
Walking through Chris Brown's yard,
I don't know if you noticed in the front of the house all the ovals.
you might call the granite stone foreshadowing
That one's a thick one, it's not going to fit anywhere.
to his backyard that truly catches the eye.
The tall one is the bell tower. It's fun to tell somebody that you have a 15,000-pound bell tower in your backyard.
The granite cutter started bringing his work home about a decade ago.
These are reclaimed sink cutouts that otherwise we would have thrown away. Kind of like a glorified Lego set. I started to have fun.
He calls it his granite paradise.
This is one of the older ones. And it was here for probably 6 years in its current condition up to here. And then just 6 months ago, I put this on.
Each taking years to build
This actually looks pretty good right there.
for just shy of 20 so far.
A lot of this is just by eye.
And you might say Brown has a keen one.
I'm legally blind, and basically what that means is I don't see good enough to drive and do a few other things.
But this he really does well.
Let me get a ladder.
And yes, he does get help from his wife and friends,
I love the sculptures.
even when he makes changes to Paradise.
You can change them all the time because they're not glued together.
I look for the same sculptures, like where are they? Oh, I take them apart and I build a new one. And it's like, what?
I'm trying to make everything bigger and cooler, you know, a little bit more wow.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds of granite might not fly with most wives,
I love my backyard, even though it's getting smaller. But it's okay.
and neither she nor Brown see an end to the granite gallery.
Lord willing, I'm still far from done. It would be cool what this will be in 10 more years.
It's a massive, heavy Lego set, if you will. Basically, it's granite countertop cutouts that you can't use because he works as a granite cutter, and so we just have this leftover stuff. So just take these truckloads of these things and just stack them and play with them and just figure it out in his head as he's building. And these things were massive. I thought they were gonna be big, but I got there and they're like 20 feet tall, and they won't blow over unless you get like, you know, hurricane winds rolling through there. So for a guy to just have this in his backyard, to me, it's unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what wife in this world would allow their husbands to do that with their backyard, but this wife was amazing for doing that. That's why we had to include her in the story, because I was just like, I just didn't get how she was doing this, but she loved it. She loved the sculpture. She missed a little bit of her landscaping, but he's passionate about it, and his passion really comes through in the story. And you know, I just couldn't believe that she actually went along with this because they're so big. Obviously, he can't see very well. So it's just like, how in God's name is this guy who can't see very well maneuvering these heavy pieces of stone? It was pretty remarkable just to kind of see what he was doing at the level he was doing it, because until you stand next to it and kind of feel the weight and see the height of these things, it really doesn't hit you on what he's really doing there.